Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we are going to be talking all about how to prepare for piercings. Now, I have done many of these videos in the past, but I'm kind of doing a refilming series of all of my piercings. I started my channel doing piercing videos and I plan to keep those up. So I'm going to go through and give you guys a total of 6 steps on how to properly prepare for piercings. If you're someone who doesn't have any piercings and you want to start getting them, or if you're someone like me who has been pierced many times before and you kind of just get nervous when it comes to getting a new piercing, hopefully these steps are helpful for you. Piercings are kind of like newborn babies. They can be very scary, they can be very stressful, they can be time consuming at times. First you have to get the piercing and then you have to, care for it and then you have to heal it, and it's just a lot. So I totally understand for those of you who may have a little bit of a fear of getting into piercings and you don't really know where to start or, what to do or how to prepare for them. So this video is just going to kind of be an informative, helpful little video on what I would personally recommend on how to prepare for piercings, where to go, what to get, all this stuff. So let's go ahead and jump right into it with step number 1. So obviously the first step is you need to decide what piercing you want to get. Obviously, when you do start to get a little bit of an itch for piercings, typically you know what piercing you want to get. Step number 2 is find a reputable shop/piercer in your area. So obviously when you do go and get a new piercing for the first time, it's very important not to let your friend do it, not to let your mom do it, not to go to Claire's, not to just do it in a back alley somewhere. It's very important because this is your body, this is a needle going through a part of your body, so it's very important to find someone who is a professional, someone who knows what they're doing, and someone who is very reputable in your area. Someone that you can really trust and count on. Definitely make sure you do your research in your area, or if you want to travel to a different area to get pierced by someone that you really want to get pierced by, it's still very important to do all of that research before you do go and get that piercing. If they have a portfolio, or if you want to just go and talk to them in person, that's totally fine too. Another plus would be to find someone who is APP certified. Another really important thing, especially in today's times, is look at reviews. Almost every time someone decides to go to a new restaurant or move into an apartment building, a lot of people look at reviews because nothing is more transparent than the everyday person giving their solid thoughts and opinions on the shop and or the piercer. So always look at reviews, whether you find a tattoo shop on Facebook that you want to go to that does piercings. Look at reviews, see what people say. Were they comfortable being there? Did the piercing go smoothly? Did anything happen afterward? Things like that. So reviews are also very important. And another thing is price. Price is also very important because you don't want to go somewhere that charges too high and you don't want to go somewhere that charges too low. So if you're going to get a nose piercing and someone's going to charge you $5, I wouldn't really recommend going there. Take that from experience. I used to go to a piercing shop that used to do $10 piercings, and back in the day that was totally fine. I didn't even think anything of it. I thought it was totally fine, but that can be a little sketchy, and the piercing isn't always pierced correctly. It's not always in the correct spot. So you got to make sure you're watching out for shops that are charging too low, but also shops that are charging too high. If someone's going to charge you $150 for a nose piercing, that sounds a little bit too high. Now, if they're charging $150 for 2 nipple piercings, that's a little bit different. So it kind of all depends on the piercing you want and what they personally charge. So don't get ripped off and don't get scammed by getting a shitty piercing with shitty jewelry in it, if you know what I'm saying. Step number 3, after you decide what piercing you want and what shop and piercer you want to go to, step number 3 is to do the research on the actual piercing. Now, this is very simple. All you got to do is just go to Google, type in, tongue piercing or belly button piercing or ear piercing, and just start looking at, the pros and cons of the piercing, what the possible long-term effects are of that piercing, healing time, what is the best jewelry, and how to heal them. One thing that really kind of helped me in the past is I would watch a lot of YouTube videos. Those are always on YouTube for you to watch. For example, my channel, I have a ton of piercing videos with a ton of different playlists, pretty much going in depth on every single piercing that I've ever had, and that just really kind of helped me decide, what's good about this piercing, what's bad about this piercing. Another thing you could do is after you do find the shop and piercer, instead of doing step number 3, you could just honestly go in and talk to the piercer about it. Say, hey, What are the negative effects of this piercing? What could possibly happen in the future if I keep this piercing long term? What jewelry would you recommend? Moving on to the next step, which is step number 4, is get your supplies. And what I mean by supplies is get everything that you could possibly need for healing, because once you get a piercing, you can't just go about your everyday life. You do have to take time out of your day to clean the piercing, to care for it, to try to get it to heal to the best of the ability, because if you just get a piercing and then just go about your everyday life and not cleaning it or washing it or keeping, your body healthy, then you're going to run into a lot of problems that you just don't want to fuck with. Non-iodized sea salt, painkillers for some of the swelling. For example, whenever I get a new piercing and it starts to hurt a couple days later, ibuprofen is just over-the-counter painkiller, is really, really good for any sort of swelling or pain that you may have for the first week or so. Gloves, antibacterial soap, Q-tips, cotton balls, paper towel, new toothbrush, depending on what piercing you're getting. If you are getting a new tongue piercing, I do recommend getting a new toothbrush to use for the healing process. That way you're not using just an old toothbrush to clean your new piercing, you know what I'm saying? So it kind of all depends on what piercing you're getting, and that will kind of determine what supplies that you need. Definitely for sure, non-iodized sea salt, antibacterial soap, gloves, painkillers, and Q-tips are like my top 5 things that I recommend for sure when you are getting a new piercing, because those things are going to be as sterile as possible and they are going to help clean your piercing. And I do recommend paper towel for that reason, because every time you are either washing your hands or you're cleaning your new body jewelry before you put it in, I like using paper towel better, because every sheet that you rip off is going to be 100% clean, rather than a hand towel that has been used 100 times, whether to wash your face or to wipe your mouth off after you get done brushing your teeth, or wiping down your counter, anything like that. So I just find paper towel to be a little bit more sterile. But if you are someone who isn't about wasting, that's fine too. Just, I would recommend using a clean washcloth or a clean hand towel every time you are going to be cleaning a new piercing. Finally, it has come to step number 5, which is time to get the piercing. Now, right off the bat, I just want to say it is very, very normal to be nervous for your piercing. Your piercer knows you're going to be nervous, especially if this is your first one. It's kind of an unfamiliar thing. You're not really sure what to think about it. So it's very normal to be nervous. It's normal to have butterflies. Your piercer knows you're going to be nervous. So, don't be afraid to speak up. One thing I do want to tell you guys is if you are going to be diving into the piercing world, I just want to say that piercings are so fast. The procedure, if you are going to someone who knows what they're doing, the whole procedure is very fast. So really the worst thing about it is the nerves, honestly, especially for me. Even now, after having like over 25 piercings, I usually always get very, very nervous and very shaky whenever I go and get a new piercing. Even though I want to get the piercing, I just can't help but feel the nerves of getting one. That honestly is the worst part about piercings, is just the nerves that you have beforehand, and after it's done, you're going to feel so much better, and not only are you going to feel better, but you are going to have a new piercing along with it. So the best things that I have for you on the day that you go and get your piercing is just try to be as calm as possible. Make sure you eat something so you have some food in your stomach, because if you do get too nervous and you have no food in your stomach, you are going to crash, and you do run the possibility of either fainting, and I mean, that does happen. It doesn't happen very often, but it can happen. So it's just very important to eat. Make sure you're getting a ton of sleep. The same goes for tattoos as well. Just make sure that you are keeping your body healthy, because a happy, healthy body calls for a happy, healthy piercing. Also, I want to say is don't be afraid to speak up. If you are someone who is sitting in the piercing chair and you're about to get a piercing, if you feel like, you feel lightheaded, or you start to see stars, or your mouth starts to get dry, or you just don't feel right, speak up. Tell your piercer, say, hey, I need a couple minutes, or I need a drink of water. That's totally fine. The thing with piercings is you are paying them to do this to you, so you are in charge. Like, speak up if you're not comfortable, or if you want them to show you step by step on what they're going to be using. And usually when you do go and get a piercing, the piercer is very talkative with you. They will tell you, okay, I'm just going to clean the area. Okay, I'm just going to give you this mouthwash, rinse your mouth out, or whatever piercing that you are getting. They'll tell you, okay, here's the clamps, and usually before they pierce you, they will tell you, okay, take a deep breath in and as you're exhaling, they will pierce you. So they're very, very open with you. They are very talkative. I personally would not like it if a piercer was super quiet with me. That would just make me kind of even more uncomfortable. So if you have to, just tell them to speak up, tell them to walk you through the process. And also don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to talk to them. They will talk to you. This is their job. This is their profession. And finally, step number 6 on how to prepare for piercings is to get the piercing, let it heal, and enjoy it. Piercings are such a really cool way of self-expression. Piercings are art. Piercings are, you know, beautiful things that we decorate our bodies with. So I really encourage all of you, if you are going to be getting a new piercing, just enjoy it. You know, live in the moment, because, you know, piercings don't last forever. Whether someone says that they do, they don't. You know, what if something happens and you have to take it out eventually, or what if you lose it and it closes up? You know, any sort of thing. So whenever you do get a new piercing, just let it heal, take good care of it, and just enjoy it. So I really, really hope that this video was helpful for some of you. I tried to give as much information as possible, not only from common knowledge, but just from personal experience as well. So if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to go down and give me a huge, huge thumbs up. Don't forget to go down and subscribe. Or if any of you out there who are watching this video who have had experience with piercings in the past and there's something that you want to add, don't be afraid to leave it down in the comments. This is all just for informational purposes. Let's just try to keep the comment section cool, calm, and quiet and friendly, and just kind of talk with everybody. If you see someone in the comments who's asking for help, try to help them without being mean. You know, piercings, not everybody has piercings. A lot of people are new to this world, and it's common courtesy to be as nice and as helpful as possible. Thank you guys so, so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it, and until then, I will see you guys very soon in my next video. I love you guys. Bye!